Good morning and welcome. Thanks for clicking into the Kehillat Shari Torah Daily Halacha Review and Sefirah to Omer count for Tuesday, May 11th. Today is day number 44 of counting the Omer this year. Hayom Arba'a va'arba'im yom shehem shisha shvois u'shnei yamim la'omer. Point number 44 in the Mishnah's 48 methods of acquiring Torah. Lomed al manas lelamed. This is to learn Torah with the intention of sharing one's knowledge with others at some point in life. Midrash Shmuel provides an amazing insight into how this helps us with our learning. The Gemara teaches that if someone is in need of a particular salvation and prays to Hashem that their friend receive it, Hashem will first provide the needed rescue for the one who davened for someone else. Based on this logic, when a person learns Torah with the intention of helping others and teaching them, Hashem will help this person first and provide them with special assistance in being able successfully to learn Torah. There are people who think that if they give their time to teach others, they will be losing out. Rav Shimon Shkop taught that the opposite is true, as the sages say, aser bishvil tis asher. Give ma'aser, give your tithes in order to become wealthy. In other words, you give away your money. It's counterintuitive that you would gain from that, but in fact we see that that's the way it is. The Gemara in Shabbos, Kuf Yud Tes. Amud Aleph, where Reb Shimon understood this to refer not only to physical meiser, physical tithes, but also spiritual tithes. So if a person takes from his own personal time to teach others, he will earn spiritual riches that would not have been accessible to him otherwise or her. It's interesting to note that Rav Moshe Feinstein assumed that the correct amount of time one needs to allocate for helping others is in fact a tenth, a meiser, 1/10, a tithe of one's time. The Steipler Gaon, Rabbi Kanievsky of blessed memory, once commented that when a person teaches something to someone else, as a result of the clarity that's needed to enable teaching, in other words, you have to go over in your own mind and be clear about it to be able to transmit it to someone else, the Steipler said that that's as if someone reviewed the subject 20 times, certainly a benefit to us. Okay, we promised yesterday that we would delve into the laws of Simchas Yom Tov, rejoicing on Yom Tov. Just as it's a mitzvah to honor Shabbos and delight in it, lechabed es Shabbos ula'ango, to have kavod Shabbos and oneg Shabbos, writes the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. So it's also a mitzvah to honor all the Yomim Tovim and delight in them. We're supposed to have honor for the Yom Tov and oneg in Yom Tov also, because our verse, which we say in Kiddush, says likdosh Hashem mechubad, God's holy and honored day. With regard to Yom Tovim, it says Mikra Kodesh. They are called a holy convocation. In other words, they have a degree of sanctity that we're to add to them by enjoying them, delighting in them. So what's meant by honor and what's meant by delight? We'll talk about both those things. Honor is like this. The sages of blessed memory said it's a mitzvah for a man to take a haircut on Erev Yom Tov so he doesn't enter the festival looking untidy. Certainly that's true. It's also a mitzvah to bathe in warm water, wash your hair, cut your nails on Erev Yom Tov, the same as Erev Shabbos. It's a mitzvah to bake challahs in your house on Erev Yom Tov, in honor of Yom Tov, just like on Erev Shabbos. We should not sit down to eat on Erev Yom Tov after mincha time. In other words, very close to time to welcome in the Shabbos or the Yom Tov. We shouldn't sit down to a full meal. In other words, wash and eat and bench and the whole thing, a snack, a cup of coffee, a drink you can certainly have. What's the reason for this? So that you'll be able to eat the Yom Tov meal with a good appetite. If you stuffed yourself late in the afternoon, Friday afternoon, or Erev Yom Tov afternoon, so by the time the meal comes around, you won't be so hungry. This way you'll have an appetite. If Erev Yom Tov occurs on Shabbos, you must eat the third meal before Mincha Ketana, a little bit earlier in the day. Pardon me. This law applies to the first day of Yom Tov, since it is the eve of second day Yom Tov also. Okay, so we'll leave it there for today. Please join us tomorrow. We'll talk about oneg, about the delight of Yom Tov. This was the honor of Yom Tov. Now we'll talk about delight next. Meantime, have a good day. Let me just remind you that tonight is Rosh Chodesh Sivan. So this afternoon at Mincha we omit Tachanun, and tonight in Ma'ariv and in benching, if you happen to eat a meal, we include Ya'aleh v'Yavo. Chodesh Tov, a guten Chodesh.